And we're on.
Okay, it's late night from Willowdale, and we wanted to do a video about Christmas, and we still will do a bit about that, the silliness of the season. But we just learned a few minutes, a couple hours ago, that a good friend of ours died, passed away, Zuhair Kashmeri, known as Kash. And we're all three in my apartment when we got the news, and the irony and this, and of course the sadness situation is he's done so much for all three of us. Myself, Chris, and Khalid, and
I came out almost because of him.
He helped Khalid come out. He introduced him to Al Farouk and Salam, the queer Muslim organization, and he helped Chris with the McDonald's campaign, the Greece campaign against McDonald's.
It's not on the camera.
In fact, that.
Okay, hold on. Okay,
you got that?
I see it. Yeah.
And
he was always a supporter of mine.
Yeah, he gave me research jobs at Now Magazine, at the CBC. He was a supporter. He helped a lot of people. So yeah, it's we just learned the news 3-4 hours ago. So
yeah, he died suddenly, so we're figuring it must be a heart attack because he had
we don't know, so we don't know what happened, so can't speculate, but we're doing this video. We're going to do this video tonight, and then this just happened. So, and three of us have all been influenced and helped by him, and he helped so many other people too. So,
oh God, I remember he took me down. He dragged me down to Ryerson once to watch a young Muslim woman talk about discrimination. I forget exactly, but I mean, he thought these things were important. No matter what you had to say, he thought it was important.
Yeah, no, he was a remarkable man. He had a great career in journalism at the Globe and Mail. He interviewed Yasser Arafat. He worked at Now Magazine. He worked at the CBC, that show, Face Off on News World.
Was that TVO or CBC?
CBC, and he worked, of course, at Omni, right? He did his commentaries.
He's senior editor of Now Magazine.
Yeah, so he had a remarkable, but he helped a lot of people, Chris?
Two kids, Shireen and Shamil.
And
what are they doing now?
One's a blogger, I know that, but
anyways, the McDonald's campaign, right? If it wasn't for Cash, that gave you a lot of publicity on that.
Yeah, the grease stickers, yeah.
And
one's an anthropologist, right? Who I have disagreements with, but okay.
Yeah, Cash introduced me to somebody he knew at the time from the Toronto Star, a writer for the Toronto Star, reporter. And that's how my McDonald's story got to the Star. Cash and I happened to bump into this writer for the Star, Brian McAndrew, just on pure chance meeting in a hardware store. And we told him the story about what happened to me in McDonald's. And then, so because of that connection, I got the story into the Star, and then it snowballed. And yeah, so Cash did a lot of...
good work.
Yeah,
good work.
I for me and you and
all three of us
and Khalid
and others and many. Yeah, Khalid, myself, and you. He helped all of us in various forms. I met him in 1982. He covered when I was involved in the campaign against Lytton Industries. Remember Lytton, the cruise missile campaign, and the police had raided our offices at Bathurst in the Bathurst and Bloor area. And Cash covered it for the Globe and Mail, and that's how I first met him. And we went out to Oka together. Cash and I drove out to Oka together to the Mohawk protests back in when was that? 1990? Yeah, 1990. So there's lots of things. So much. We were involved in so many things together. So
I guess I met him at CIUT Radio.
Thank you for mentioning that. He was involved in our radio show at CIUT.
He was a regular guest.
Yeah, and helped, and also did a lot. Same work you and I did, reporting and helping out on CIUT. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would have met him at through CIUT at the University of Toronto radio station, and then got to know him when he helped you in the campaign against McDonald's.
So that's why we broke out the champagne.
We broke out the prosecco because.
I can't hold my glass up, but okay.
Let's all cheer.
Perfect.
Cheers
to Cash.
Celebrate his life.
Cash, right.
This is a celebration of his life.
Here's to you, Cash.
Yeah, here's to you, Cash. Very sad what we found out a few hours ago, but you have a lot to be proud of, and your family has a lot to be proud of. So, I guess...
Wasn't his grandfather almost kind of...
And his grandfather
was a documentary filmmaker?
His dad
Okay.
was a famous Indian movie director.
Bollywood director.
Bollywood director. So
Right.
I mean, there's so much you could talk about. His
Amitabh,
life.
right?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Amitabh.
Yeah. And he went to India to do a documentary on his father, which I actually have somewhere in the archives here.
He wrote for the Globe and Mail. He interviewed Yasser Arafat.
As I
He
said.
helped me come out. Like, I mean, you
There
know.
you go. So there's so much we could say, so the
Andrew did too as well. But I mean, Kash was instrumental, you know?
yeah, he was instrumental in so many things.
Cash knew people in the community.
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
absolutely.
Yes.
So here's
So-
to you, Kash, and then we'll move on. He would want us to move on with our videos. He actually liked our videos, so
He did. He did.
So he'd want us to move on, and he would agree with our positions on. He would agree with our positions on on Christmas and the silliness and the stupidity of the holiday season and how it's
Why
so
is Christmas stupid?
so hyped up. So this is a good segue because Kash liked our videos and would agree with some of our opinions on this season. And we're going to try to keep this.
Did he
relatively
like
short.
Muslim people though? Like I don't know. Like was he? Because I don't know him as well as you do. But like I mean, did Kash like Muslim people? I
Well,
don't.
yeah, he was born Muslim. I mean,
No,
he was-
no. That's the obvious.
He
But
was a
yeah.
secularist. He was, basically,
Okay.
he was a secularist. He was born in Mumbai or Bombay then, and he was a secularist. He became a secularist pretty
I
much.
thought he was Hindu.
No.
No.
he was
His last
Muslim.
name
He was Muslim.
betrays like yeah.
He was born in India.
Yeah, in Mumbai, which is a city with a large Muslim population.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was one of Midnight's children, born at the same time as Salman Rushdie and so many others. So I mean, anyways,
He was a reverend, right? Like I mean,
yeah, and he's pretty cynical about religion, and that's why I think Christmas he would never take Christmas too seriously.
mm,
You mean the over commercialization of
Right.
Christmas?
So why do I think in many ways Christmas is in some ways, to be really brutal about it, a criminal offense, because I first think the environmental aspects of Christmas and all the packaging and all the consumer goods that are bought for people who generally don't need them, and a lot of it just ends up in landfills and in lakes and in the oceans. We just saw the Discovery Channel special on Apollo 8, the first time that humans actually left Earth orbit and went into deep space, circled the moon.
but
came
was
back-
there a lot of religious shit going on?
Well,
behind
there was a
Apollo
lot
8?
of religious
I mean,
stuff.
didn't Buzz Aldrin like
No,
do
that
a
was
little-
Bill.
a small prayer, like
No,
you
it was
know?
Frank Borman. That was the.
Oh, okay.
But nonetheless, he took this. Bill Anders was
Know
on.
your astronauts.
Yeah. Yes.
All I know is
Bill Anders took this famous photo called Earthrise. It's about the Earth rising over the moon, and it became a big symbol in the environmental movement. And because of the Earth is so fragile, and that was in December of 1968. Anyways,
Oh,
yeah. So they were
Deep
showing
space, right?
pictures
Like,
in this
yeah.
documentary of the Earth, the environment. 1968 was in bad shape. And coincidentally, it was Richard Nixon who was very influenced by this trip, Apollo 8 mission. He brought in Richard Nixon started the Environmental Protection Agency. He brought in the Clean Air Act.
You know
Richard
what?
Nixon was very progressive on the environment.
He's very socialist too.
Yeah.
He was a Quaker.
He was a Quaker, yeah.
I actually remember the flag that was developed for that the burgeoning ecological movement. It was, I think it was a lowercase e, but I'm not sure if it made a complete circle
Yeah.
or not. I remember that flag. That was sort of the proto
Oh, I see what you're saying. I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, yeah.
movement or whatever group.
But anyway, so going back to, let's not go to the whole Christmas discussion about Christmas. So yeah, there's the environmental destruction. There's the stress. There's the stress that it causes on people. People fight with financial issues. They're forced to. They're feeling pressure to buy gifts.
They go into debt,
They buy gifts. They go into debt.
rushing around like maniacs.
Yeah,
Last minute shopping.
Oh God! And there's that whole issue of last minute shoppers
Fighting the
You're
crowds
right.
and
They're heroes. Those last minute shoppers. They're heroes.
yeah, they're portrayed as
Heroes. I mean, that's sick.
Interviewed on the street.
Oh yeah, that's sickening. But yeah, so let's just environmental destruction. the financial stresses it causes people, and then there's the emotional stresses. People who are already lonely most of the time, they're even more lonelier at Christmas, and this is a whole other issue. And then there's the religious aspects of it, which are, you know,
Well,
which I think are kind of silly. I don't believe in Virgin Marys and Virgin Caesars, and I have been to Bethlehem actually.
I stopped buying gifts Christmas gifts about 15 years ago. I just gave up on that whole
and
thing.
the other
What's
thing
point?
is,
Buy cards or something like that.
I know. The whole thing is, why do we celebrate this one day? Why do people get so hyped up for one day? Come on, you're all out there. You're hugging and you're kissing. Oh, Merry Christmas. And you're hugging and you're kissing like you'll never see somebody again. Of course, you're going to see them 2 days later, you know?
And you're going to say some nasty comment to them.
You know,
like,
it's so silly, this emotion around Christmas. Like it's and then of course, Cleve and I, you know, we go to Woody's on a Christmas night, and a lot of these people are into. You hear the discussions up to Christmas. Oh, everyone's doing Christmas stuff, and they're all into the family and that. But on Christmas night, Woody's is so packed because it's like a refuge from Christmas. People.
It's the antidote.
It's the antidote. Oh God, thank God it's over.
There's a reboot of Queer as Folk, by the way.
Yeah. So
on Bravo.
So why, you know, people get so hyped up about the day, and a lot of them are stressed out. But people need to do is just say no. If people just said no, I'm not traveling 500 miles to do Christmas stuff or visit friends or family. I'm not doing it, or I'm not going to these family functions or all these functions that cause me stress. I'm just saying no. I'm not doing it. I think that the world would be a lot better off. You know, this idea that we get so hyped up with Christmas, we have to be with people on Christmas.
It's not. It's evolved into something completely unrelated to what it originated as, which was the birth of Christ, celebrating the birth of Christ, and then it sort of evolved into a family gathering thing, and then now it's become hyper commercialized with gift buying and
I mean, and then
people going into debt and.
Right, and it's
like I've heard stories of like families like shopping for groceries that they can't afford, like groceries, like they the basics become like this huge debt that they pay their groceries off on because they shop on their credit cards, right? Like I mean, but they pay their groceries off over the like Christmas just ruins them so much. Wow. They spend the next year basically paying off for their grocery bills, like you know, nuts and berries. Like I mean, you know.
Salvation Army commercial,
right?
You know, where that woman is a waitress.
The waitress, the customer gets up to leave and he doesn't finish her sandwich. And
right.
The waitress removes it.
That is powerful because
that's an uncomfortable truth.
Because they're making minimum wage, which is not making a livable wage in these jobs. And now we live in a society where we have a premier even wants to backtrack on minimum wage increases, and yet then there's all this false generosity around Christmas. So you have the employers that throw their employees a Christmas party once a year, but they treat them like dirt during the rest of the year.
364 days.
Yeah, they treat them like dirt. They pay them like dirt. And then they think, oh, a Christmas party will make up for it. It's so stupid. You know, like, I just find this whole period of time silly and stupid. And if people don't see it, and you know, and it's a cultish. It becomes a cultish and religious. It's religious.
Cults all over again.
It's religious, obviously, for some people who believe in that. But it's religious in the sense that I have to be with people. I have to buy this. And
there's nothing wrong with getting together with your family or friends or whatever.
But you can do that all the time. You don't need. If you want to do it, you can do it all the time.
Yeah, but you don't have to do it. It's like an socially agreed upon date that everyone is expected to get together.
Yeah. And there's lots of
family.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
And there's lots of movies made about the stresses, though. In the U.S., it's U.S. Thanksgiving. It's actually worse than Christmas, right? That's their big. But yeah, there's lots of movies made about the stress of family and going to that. And I'd say, you know, to people who do that stuff, don't. Just say no. you can't, you know.
Just say no to Christmas.
Just say no to Christmas. What did Brian Mulroney say to John Turner in that famous 1984 debate? You, sir, had an option, and the option was to say no. He was talking about Senator Trudeau and pointed all these senators, right? You, sir, had an option, and the option was to say no. Anyways, enough on Christmas. There's so much in the news to talk about.
Trump wants his artistically designed slats now. He's not calling it a wall anymore. It's artistically designed slats.
Is it true that there's spikes on the walls, like like sharpened ends to the wall that like people can get impaled on that he's
Maybe
calling
for
beautiful,
visual
or
effect, but people will just build taller ladders. That's all.
Right.
Most immigrants coming in from Mexico,
They go underground, right?
They come in through LAX.
Right.
You know, the whole immigration debate is crazy, and the government shutdown is crazy.
It's a straw man argument. It makes no sense. There's no, yeah.
But I think
Ridiculous.
what Trump did in terms of announcing he wants to withdraw troops from Syria, and also started.
Oh, that was huge.
Yeah, and also started just withdrawing troops from Afghanistan.
Mm.
I think that's a good move. The way he's done it is not a good move.
We did it unilaterally without letting anyone know.
Right.
And so his top senior advisor left, couldn't abide by that.
Yeah, Mattis's resignation was huge because remember in Bob Woodward's book that's up there, he said that Trump is like a 5-year-old. He acts like a 5-year-old. The thing is this. U.S. can't. We've done videos on this before. You can't have endless wars. The war in Afghanistan is going on now 17 years. Longest American,
18 years.
18 years almost. Longest war in American history. There's no end in sight. We've done videos on this. You'll have to have negotiated settlement with the Taliban. They have widespread support in Afghanistan.
Yeah, but no, whether that's negotiated or not, like, look, they quote unquote negotiated with ISIS in Iraq. Like, I mean, and where does that get us, right? Like, I mean, secularists are suppressed. Like, I mean, the voting in Iraq is like just horrible because a lot of people don't.
And ISIS are different stories.
Well, no. What are you saying, Andrew? Like, I mean,
look, ISIS is a phenomenon that came out of the chaos of the Iraq War. Okay, we don't want to prolong this video, but they need to have negotiated settlement with the Taliban and start to leave Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not going to be Canada anytime soon, okay? Sorry, it's not. So we're not going to turn it into the Netherlands or into Canada. It's time for a negotiated settlement with Afghanistan, with the Taliban, and withdraw. In terms of Syria, a negotiated settlement is out there. The Russians, the Iranians, the Turks.
How rational do you think the Iranians are?
There is a settlement out there. No one just wants to put it in there. I agree with Trump. Why do Americans keep fighting these wars overseas? Withdrawal of the United States from the world to a point is not a bad thing, but you got to do it in a sort of negotiation.
Maybe he wants to bring them home so he can put them along the border.
Well, that's another whole issue. What I'm saying is, yes, ISIS is an issue, and I don't think ISIS is defeated yet. The thing with withdrawing from Syria, that allows the Turks to go in there and massacre the Kurds. And that's horrible. Why do we keep abandoning the Kurds, right?
Yes, that's true. Yes.
The Kurds are a whole different issue. The Kurds deserve their own state. I mean,
Bush Sr. Abandoned the Iraqis.
Right. The Bush Sr. abandoned them.
After they came out against Saddam Hussein,
yeah.
And then they left, and then they were
right.
all cut down.
Yeah, that doesn't get talked a lot about all the tributes to Bush 41. But he abandoned the Shias and the Kurds and let Saddam.
The Iraqi resistance.
Yeah, and from a geopolitical standpoint, yeah, he didn't want to break up Iraq, and he knew he still needed a strong man in power in terms of Saddam. It was a horrible thing to do, but I sort of understood it, even though it was kind of horrible. But the bottom line is, there are negotiated settlements to these conflicts. You just have to put the effort into them. And I agree with Trump.
Well, give me an example. Like, give me an example where negotiated settlements worked.
Well, in Colombia, I know that's a bit rocky.
I'll have to look it up, but yeah, explain.
Camp David, classic. Carter negotiated a peace between Egypt and Israel. Bosnia, the Bosnian Accords. Suez. Oh, God. I mean, I could go on.
I'll have to look this shit up.
Yeah, there's tons of negotiated settlements to conflict.
Where did Canada go? The island off Greece?
Cyprus? Cyprus is still a dicey issue.
Are there details that I'm not getting? Like, I mean, yeah.
But the bottom line is you have to put the efforts into these things. And Trump doesn't seem to care.
Well, why won't they put the effort in?
He's just fulfill campaign promises. And you gotta, and he doesn't really care about the consequences. I think withdrawing from Syria is a good thing. But you gotta do it you gotta have some sort of settlement. You gotta bring the parties together. And that's why you need to have that's why you have to bring Iran into the picture. Iran is vital to Afghanistan, to what's happening in Iraq and Syria. And they are vital. So you've got to get over this hatred of Iran. I'm sorry.
But Iran hates the United States as well, right? Like, I mean,
but if they were invited in, they settled. They
yeah, but they got Putin on their back, right?
They signed the nuclear deal. Iran signed the nuclear deal. They've lived up to the nuclear deal. What's the only country, Chris?
You're gonna have a power vacuum once the States leaves.
True. I agree with Chris.
Iran is gonna move in.
I'm not saying leave tomorrow. I'm just saying it's a good idea, but you got to. You're right.
Well, a proper gradual withdrawal, not a sudden cut and run. It makes the States look like cowards.
See, people are forgetting that.
There's no cohesion.
There's no cohesion to it because there's no cohesion in anything Trump does. But I'm saying the idea of finally ending this 18-year-old war in Afghanistan makes sense.
But not in this way.
Yeah, you got to do it in a negotiated way. Yeah. And in Syria, you have parties that are willing. The Iranians, the Russians, the Turks. You bring them together. You figure it out. They're finally doing this with Yemen. Finally, after the Saudis have been slaughtering people in Yemen.
All right, what other topics?
So, anyways, I think that's it. We've done a lot.
Can we? Because I also have to pee. So I mean,
we're done. We're done with.
Are we done? Okay.
We'll
Thank you, gods. Okay.
There's lots to talk about. Once again, very sad to hear about the passing of Zuhair Kashmeri. He did a lot for a lot of people. And he was also a fan of some of these videos, and he would agree with some of our viewpoints.
And he was our friend.
And he was our friend.
Above and beyond, yes.
A good friend to all of us. Okay, on that note, goodbye.